We are here today really to get our community together to decide how we are going to take action to protect the Margalla Hills. I will say to all of us, all of those of us who are slightly skeptical about what community action can do, they have actually managed to do a lot in terms of protecting our environment. So don't give up hope. It is very dependent on how much the community cares, and especially in this day and age with media presence being what it is, we can make enough of a noise to be able to be heard, and it is important to make that noise, especially in the Pakistan of today where public space is being taken away from us.
We are going to have an online petition on youlinmagazine.com. So the minute you click onto it, you will get onto the online petition. So one that. But those of you who do not like going on and using the computer and doing things online, we have a paper circulating, and you can write your number and whatever you want us, however you want us to contact you.
This is a gift of God. This is really a gift of God. And it is an irreplaceable asset. Irreplaceable asset. I was introduced to this, some of my friends, fond of walking, hiking and trekking in the early 80s. And there was no Trail 3 at that time. This was made by Margalla Hills Society. And during the course of our wanderings, we realized that the national park was facing many problems. One of the main problem was, at that time, it was government in its wisdom had given licenses to influential people, politicians, for stone crushing and quarrying in the national park. It was declared a national park sometime in 1979-80, and they gave these leases to influential people after declaring it as a national park, you see. We are all living at the foot of Margalla Hill. If you can't protect it, if we can't, Margalla is crying for help. Margalla is crying for help, you see. Let it not be said, when the history of Margalla comes to be written, that when Margalla was bleeding, and Margalla was assaulted, and Margalla was in trouble, the citizens of Islamabad did nothing. They didn't raise their little finger in support of Margalla Hill, you see.
The first thing is that you got the law on your side. Anyone who asks why this project is bad for the environment should be told, well, the people of Pakistan got together and they passed a legislation, the Islamabad Wildlife Ordinance of 1979, and it says that those areas where the flora and fauna needs protecting shall be declared a national park, and the following activities can't be done in national park. You can't fell a tree, you can't move a rock. It says you can provide access roads and use the park for research purposes and academic purposes, but I don't think putting a highway with sky rises on either side is an access road or indeed is any sort of academic exercise. So you've got the law on your side. The law says you cannot do this in a national park, and that should be your starting point. And I'll come to the point behind these people asking whether or not this Haripur project is environmentally safe and sound, but that has to be responded to in its own stead. And the second thing you have on your in your favor is that, well, because this is a law, at some point when this project gets approved by whatever it's the Planning Commission or ECNEC or the ECC, the big politician or the deciding authority that allocates the funds, I think that's an opportunity all of you have to highlight the decision and say you're taking a decision in violation of law. That would be the first place. And the second place to raise objection is if this thing actually gets off the ground, if a PC1 form is submitted and funds are allocated, they have to conduct what's called an environment impact assessment of the road. EIAs are, well, without getting into details of it, it will allow all of you an opportunity to participate in a public hearing where the project will be reviewed. And the Environment Protection Agency, which is responsible for reviewing the project, at some point will be called upon to approve this project, and you've got yourself a challengeable order at that point in time, because no project can take place in a national park. So you've got two very strong legal legs to stand on, as far as I can see. And in addition, you can rely on the very well-developed Supreme Court jurisprudence. You're also very lucky that we've got a very, very supportive judiciary when it comes to environmental matters and protecting parks. So you've got a doctrine of public trust which the judiciary recognizes. And the public trust doctrine says that any place of public benefit, be it the sea, a river, a national park, must be preserved by the government for the benefit of the general public and not for any particular private interests. And this principle can be called into bear at any point where government is, can be cornered into answering these sorts of questions.
Another biggest threat, to Islamabad and the national park is apathy. Apathy on the part of the cities. Apathy. वरना लोग निकल आए, you can move mountain. ये बिल्कुल नहीं कर सकते. I am absolutely sure, you see, कि ये नहीं कर सकेगा, ये implement नहीं हो सकेगा, over my dead body, जी. लेकिन ये है कि आप लोगों की इमदाद की ज़रूरत है, बहुत सख्त ज़रूरत है.
Khan Sahab has named a few valleys which many of us maybe haven't heard of them before, but I'd like to tell you how many valleys are there. I might be missing a couple. So after Shah Aladitta, which is now at a very, very, it shows us a very sad picture. There is after a lot of quarrying, there is housing and other activities going on. And the housing has gone up to the village of Kenthla. This is Taxila, so it's Punjab, so CDA is not concerned about that. But there is huge housing colony coming up at the top of the hill, and it's where the old crossing was and where you can find the Greek step wells and things like that. But I think it will be gone very soon. So after that we have Dara Gay. After Dara Gay we have Dara Baliman. After Dara Baliman we can go to Gandhia. After Gandhia we have Sanyadi. And Sanyadi we all must go. There is the biggest banyan tree. You can see it covers almost half an acre, just one tree. It needs to be seen even if you cannot get into the valley, which is amazing, where you can see wild figs growing, pomegranate, and if you go higher up there is a huge olive forest, and beside that you have amazing grand old oak trees, which is many of cannot even imagine, and the floor is covered with acorns, and you feel that you are in heaven. And after Sanyadi you have Kalinjar. After Kalinjar we have Kamani, which comes behind the Faisal Mosque, and after Kamani we come to the Sadpur, which all of us know is heavily commercialized. And after having seen the Sadpur you come to Dara Jangla, which we know of as the Trail 5, which thanks to Khan Sahab is now available to us again. And after you have seen the Jangla, you can go to the Ratta Hotar, which is known as the Leopard Valley. And when I came to Islamabad, I thought it's a funny name, but I actually saw a leopard there. And after that, you can go to the Rock Pools Valley, which is also known as Dara Nurpur. And Dara Nurpur leads us to then Rambli and Naryas. And after that, you have Shadara. All of these are amazing valleys, and you can see amazing number of birds at any given time of the day. And this is just one side of the valley. The other slope has similar number of the valleys. And then I'm still talking about just the first ridge. Then you have 3 ridges, 4 ridges, and 5 ridges, depending on from where you cross it. Then you have hundreds of springs and things like that. Rafi was talking about the highway as internal, but I have bad news. We already have a highway expressway size road which goes to Munal and then continues into Frontier Province and goes all the way to the road connecting Khanpur and Lora. This is a huge wide avenue which leads nowhere. It reaches to just a 12-foot wide road. So meaning it's not helping anyone, but it's a huge expressway side road. And already you can see Lahori nashta and Peshawari ice cream and all those things coming up. And all the damages we talked about are already happening. So this is, I mean, no one, we couldn't stop that, but tunnel, you must be kidding.
Margallah tunnel na manzoor, na manzoor, na manzoor. Margallah tunnel na manzoor.